Welcome, my name's Samuel Price, the Crypto Lifer, and every single Friday I give you the macro technical analysis video. This Friday, it's from the week's streaming studios in Dubai. They let me use these studios because I'm traveling and I need a great place to stream. So let's jump on in, show you what's happening, and break down the charts like we do every single Friday on the macro videos. Now, one macro idea I wanted to show you was the rising wedge. Bitcoin is in a rising wedge. Rising wedges break out parabolically. This could be a parabolic move for Bitcoin. This really could end up being something huge, and it could run all the way up to about $197,000. I saw, maybe 139. This is the first time I'm seeing this bigger target. How do I get it? You take it from here. You would put this basically at a slanted length, and you can put it here, and it suggests we definitely... Maybe not, fine. We could put a little lower, but it does say $194,000 Bitcoin is definitely possible here out of a rising wedge to the upside. Just wanted to kind of look at that idea. Let's get back to our macro. I haven't shown that ever on the channel, so I just saw it. I wanted to share with you guys what I saw. Bitcoin's been pumping. We had a beautiful weekly close, and this week just continued to rip. Everything's been going well. This candle will close in 2 days on Sunday night, and if it closes like this, it's going to be great. You can see it's right at this resistance area here, or right about to get to it. That resistance is 98,005. Psychological support or resistance there at about 98,350 to 98,005. We get through that. Then you get the 1026 and then 10. There's only two areas of resistance before we go. And I was telling people that too. I was like, once Bitcoin reverses, it would crack this high, and then it doesn't have a lot of resistance. Even though everyone was scared down here, there was not a lot of resistance once we began to reverse. I take the length of this monster move here, got your measured move of this falling wedge, and it takes you all the way up here somewhere to about $135,000 Bitcoin, 139 area, if I position it perfectly there, like this. The key is we're going to Valhalla, right? A bigger move looks like it is coming for Bitcoin. Bearish scenario, just to be open-minded, is that we could make some type of M pattern, right? Who knows? Anything could happen in the world. You never know. So I'm always open-minded, even if I think something looks very, very likely. But that could be an M. And what if the M ends up dumping to the downside? Anything is possible. That's unlikely with what's happening, but you never know. I just wanted to keep that on your radar. What I kept showing every single day for the last few weeks, even on this macro video, and I hope you watched it, was the fact that we were in this swing down and swing up. That was a hidden bullish divergence because the RSI was swinging down. And then we pulled the Fibonacci from this level, wick to wick. And you can see we wicked right through the golden pocket to the 706. Absolutely beautiful. If you take it from the exact wick area, we just touched the 618 and bounce. These are very healthy levels for the fibs. After a pump, you come back to the 618 and then you're gone. That's a very healthy bullish move. We were never in a bear trend. We had a low, we had a high, higher low, higher high, higher low. I kept saying unless we lost 54,000, which would be the lower, when you made a lower low, then you come up for the lower high and then you would dump. As long as we kept this as the lower low, there was no way we weren't in an uptrend. So Bitcoin's still in an uptrend. So I'm now suggesting that because you made a higher low, you're almost definitely going to break this high before you break this low. So to me, it says Bitcoin's on the way further to the upside based on the trend, and it's headed, possibly to $136,000 BTC. Right now we're sitting at 96.3. I'm not going to get into the smaller time frames. That's for my day-to-day and my updates. But this is what I see on the macro for Bitcoin. We want to get a nice bullish close here on the weekly. And so far, so good. Momentum on the MACD, momentum on the RSI, just crossing that dotted line. The hidden bullish divergence played out. It says we're going to break this high before we break this low. I've been saying it every single week, and it looks like it will probably come to fruition. So that's pretty cool. Let me move that so you can see your ticker there. Now, I'm going to do Ethereum. Even though I don't always do it, I'm going to take a look at Ethereum. It's been a while, I know. I'm in a long for ETH right now, actually, and, it's one of the first times in a long time I'm trading Ethereum. But I saw it was super bullish. This flag looked very bullish to me. Now it looks to be like retesting and continuing to the upside. My short-term target's 1984 and then probably up to 2100. My long-term target, let's take a look at our weekly and see what's happening here to Ethy. Now a little rhyme there for you. To ETH. But Ethereum, not my favorite coin. Everyone knows that. I bought it back in the day. It has an infinite supply, just certain things that throw me off a little bit, and Sui and Sol seem to get market share. I see Ethereum pushing up, but it's going to have to, number one, get back on that trend line. What if it gets rejected by this trend line and drops? It's going to have to break this. So what you're looking for is a bump and run. ETH gets back above this, comes down, and runs back to the upside here. That'll still take some time. November, you're looking at a $4,100 ETH by November. So ETH maybe doubles when Bitcoin starts to rip again. But I do see a bounce at least back to the 21-day moving average on the weekly. It looks like it's ready to go. And then the smaller time frames, we're just looking, at if these flags, just to show you the opportunity, because I want to be on the macro here. But yeah, like ETH's not that exciting, right? The fact that it would go do all that and barely double. It looks like it wicked, got back inside the pattern. This is the overall pattern here. I'm trading this. Once we get somewhere up to about 2,100, I'm out of the trade, and that's my target for Ethereum. Very likely it's going to happen based on how the 200-day moving average is moving with price action, and that is Ethereum. We're going to look at total, the entire market cap of all of cryptocurrencies, and see what's happening on total. Total is very bullish. I had this in like a bullish rectangle, bull flag. Again, same thing. They did that dolphin dip. They packed their bags. Whenever they dip down, everybody, it's usually they're going to go again. Shoulder, head, right shoulder, made it look like we were going to dump, ripped it back up. I talked about how we long when the 1 hour got back above the 200 MA, right there, and then we're gone, baby, gone. Let's take a look at our bigger time frames like the weekly, the 2 week, and see what's happening to the total market cap on this macro analysis video that shows you like a wide picture of what's happening, because you don't want to be stuck on the small time frames. Ethereum total has the hidden bullish too with oversold stochastics, and it's just getting started out of the falling wedge that it broke out from. Previous support became resistance. I mean, you can't beat that. And that tells you that it's going to go up the next leg of the measured move wick to wick, algorithmically the wick to wick move. I take that because one to theirs, boom. That gives us $4.64 trillion, and it takes this total market cap and all of cryptocurrency further to the upside. All coins rip, Bitcoin rips. But more money does come into Bitcoin. It probably stays, even though the market's going to rip like it used to, Bitcoin dominance looks like it may continue to hold some shares here as we continue to the upside. Again, when we hit 363 trillion, maybe some resistance, but the next big level is $4.71 trillion. 4.71 trillion. The stochastics say yes. I see a big move coming. Hidden bullish. We even pulled the Fibonacci here. We did it all. And you can see we bounced right off that 618 near the 706. Very, very normal places to bounce. Like, this is what you want to see. This is very healthy price action. I see this going all the way up to $4.67 trillion. And, we're breaking out as I suggested for the last few weeks. And if you call it, I bought a whole Bitcoin at 84,000, and I bought a lot more Bitcoin between 74 and 81K. And if you bought when I bought, you are happily in the green right now, just doing damage. We look at total on the 2 week chart, breaking out of the falling wedge, right? And this thing can do damage too. If it continues to rip, this can get all the way up here to like $1.5 trillion, right? That's what we're looking at. Resistance right here at 1 trillion. And these are the altcoins, right? Excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, right? These are all the alts. You can see that they clearly came back to resistance, used it as support on the 2 week chart. Perfect time to boom. The 2 week chart says we are about to boom to the upside. The weekly got a little bit far, but the 2 week kept it very nice. If you trade the 2 week right now, in right here, stop below there, good chance this thing rides further to the upside. So I like what I'm seeing on the 2 week chart for total, and I'm expecting a bigger move here coming. Again, we have hidden bullish divergence as that swings up and this swings down, and that tells you you're going to break this high before you break that low. It's very, very accurate with support and resistance. That measured move takes us to $1.5 trillion. For the altcoins, they'll double up. The entire altcoin market cap is going to double up. Get excited. This looks pretty nice to me. Now, bearish scenario, I believe we could come and get resistance at 924 or possibly at 106. But right now, I'm more bullish than bearish, and let the cards fall and keep watching it. But I'm in these longs for Bitcoin. I'm seeing, and I stashed Bitcoin at 84. I've bought a bunch of altcoins too, Swede, Solana, Ondo at these low areas. I'd like to get this thing rolling and see how much gains we can have here. With that being said, now we want to look at Bitcoin dominance. We want to see what's about to happen to Bitcoin dominance, and it's ripping right now. I see this rising wedge about to explode. To me, it's only a matter of time. Bitcoin dominance is about to do something crazy. And it looks like people are going to FOMO for Bitcoin again. It's going to get back to 100K faster than you believe. And then people are going to start screaming and yelling and running after it. And then 102, 106. Then they're going to say, dang, I should have waited for 90. Everyone who keeps waiting, 94 pullback, 89 pullback, 74 pullback. They're the ones who, everyone who's waiting for the pullback becomes the buyer. They just keep flipping to the waiter to the buyer, the waiter to the buyer, the waiter to the buyer. And I see that happen again. I've seen it happen many times. That's why I had to buy the fear. When the fear went to 10, I bought Bitcoin. I showed this on my stream. You can see we're at 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, maybe 11 times in the last 8 years. Every time this indicator gets down to a 10, meaning this goes all the way over here and the fear is a 10. To me, it is a have to buy moment for Bitcoin. If you can't take advantage of those moments, then you're going to be stuck buying the top. You got to buy the bottom, right? So you got to use the fear to be getting into Bitcoin. I did that. I see a huge move here for Bitcoin dominance and continuing. Everyone thinks it's going to drop. No, I see a bigger move here. More people are going to wish they had more Bitcoin at the end of this cycle, and it heads up to about 75.96% for Bitcoin. Then we take a look at U.S. Tether dominance. We want to see how much money is leaving Tether, and honestly, that should be dropping like an anvil, and it is. Look at the double top I have. Look at this rising wedge dropping. I'm going to just clean up my older work here, but you got this rising wedge. Rising wedges break up 68% of the time. You flip this upside down, it's basically Bitcoin, down, down, right? And that's about to rip. So you're like, oh yeah, we're going to fly. Bitcoin's about to pump. No. That's the DXY about to take a massive dump to the downside. So I see this going down. I see this as a double top, lower high. I see, why wouldn't you now make a lower low? We've got this channel somewhat forming. Look for this to come on down. It is creepy. Eventually, you're going to get one of these. Little drop, and then maybe the dollar goes on this massive comeback, and that will be the bear market there, May of 2026. And that's when you want to be out of altcoins and back into possible Tether and stable up as, we'll see what happens. But Tether dominance, I see this thing careening down, like we said, back to the 200 MA on the 2-week chart for Tether dominance. Only a matter of time. This thing's looking exactly how we want it to look, and things are playing into our cards. So I like that right now. Let's take a look at gold. I saw a pullback for gold, but now it looks like it may consolidate a little bit here. But I do see a pullback. The 2 weeks very overbought. People frenzied for gold. All right. Now they're going to come back and the rates are going to get cut. When the rates get cut, people don't want their gold. They're going to want to get back into fun, fast assets. They're going to get free money from the bank and throw it into the stock market. That's what's going to happen because that's, now if we get any type of more issues, maybe with tariffs and stuff too, but I feel like gold ran the tariff run. I think you're going to start seeing Trump's new implementations. Things may start happening. There's even talks that tariffs are deflationary as opposed to inflationary, but that's another story. But I can show you some cool graphics on that idea. Here is this point. I see gold going down or sideways. I feel like it's more likely coming down. So I believe gold will be making its move down somewhere here to 29.86 before its next bigger leg to the upside. S&P futures, I've been bullish, saying they're going to money print, saying it's happening. Wait for the big pump. It's coming. Only moments matter from now. And I said, probably watch this broadening falling wedge probably break out to the upside. I gave you this little flag and told you they were going to reverse. Told you they were going to reverse the S&P. Let's take a look. Number one, we pumped. I pulled a Fibonacci from impulse top, and I get myself a 618 Fibonacci. So from this impulse here up to the top, we licked right towards the 618, just like Bitcoin. Money started to get printed. We got this shoulder, which I pointed out before too. Shoulder, head, right shoulder. We pumped. I drew the flag. We pumped again. I've been calling the S&P absolutely lovely. Last week I drew this. They dolphin dipped it, got it back inside, but it is headed towards the target that I have projected here for the S&P futures. I see the S&P futures coming up, probably going sideways here where they reconnect with the 21, and then another big pump comes as they go through this gap in the VRVP. I see S&P somewhere at about 60,156, possibly by May or 9th or 8th. This weekend could be a huge move. Something is brewing here for Bitcoin. Looks like I'm going to come home to Florida from Dubai, and things are just going to be out of control. Let's take a look at the NQ, the NASDAQ mini futures, and see what's happening. Same exact story. I drew the inverted head and shoulder. I gave you the trade right there with the stop right there. It looks like they almost got the stop. I guess that stop would have been hit. Dang, man. They stop hunted before they ran. Like, what a bunch of grind balls. You could see it was a beautiful move. Stop, hunt, run. Again, once you get back above the 200 MA, take the trade. Keep the stop maybe a little lower than that. Trying to zoom in and see, yeah, that would have been a hit, though, regardless. But I didn't make the trade on the NASDAQ. I don't trade the NASDAQ as much, but that's a nice call. But dang, that's a grimy move right there, right? Wing, boom. Anyway, I see in the bigger picture a bigger move out of the inverted head and shoulder and a move out of these flags to the upside. Starting to push. My target is 20,819 before any local pullback in that manner. Last but not least, I'd like to look at Solana and Sol ETH. Sol against Ethereum. I see Sol beating up on Ethereum over time. I wanted it to be more lateral, but it made this flag. I just still see that Solana is going to be more desirable than Ethereum, in my humble opinion. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm looking at this. Again, you broke out. I feel like you're coming back to retest the top of this channel, and you can go further to the upside. I like Solana against Ethereum right now. Could be a real good buy after this previous resistance is support, and then boom, Solana will start outperforming. If the market starts to rip and Bitcoin rips, Solana's going to rip, and Solana's going to outperform Ethereum because it's smaller and people are going to use it more and it's faster. So, of course, I see a move coming for Sol ETH to the upside. That's your macro analysis video, everybody, for Bitcoin, Ethereum, gold, S&P futures, the NASDAQ, Bitcoin dominance, Tether dominance, total and total 3, and Sol Ethereum. I hope you had a good time watching this video. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications so you can find out when I post my next video. Remember, if you came to the channel, then you're already doing the right thing. And don't forget, crypto is life.